Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This is your boy here, Daniel. I got a comment or a request to make a video from a guy. We'll just leave anonymous, and it's a pretty basic question for people who are coming into the typology community. So the question pretty much is summed up as, how do you find people of a type that you'd want to get along with, right? Like, you find out your type, whatever theory it is, and a common question is, great, I know my type. How do I find more people like me or more people that would, fit romantically? It's a good question. So, what I would suggest people do in this situation is once you discover more or less your type or what you think your type is, or the people that or the kind of people that you think that you'd get along. I mean, it's really so. I do want to clarify one thing though. It took me a long time to think about whether or not I wanted to make this video as a rant or to be productive. So I want to go the productive route. But I did want to say though that you don't per se need type to find people, that you'd find interesting. It's really easy to find people who have similar hobbies and interests as you. You just gotta write a list down of what you like to do, and think about where you would go to meet people like yourself. So I know it's a little inception oriented, but it's pretty easy. But let's just take an example. Let's just say you are a type 3. I'm going to use myself. How about that? Let's just say you're a type 3, and you want to be surrounded by other people who are trying to hustle, help others, create a business, be entrepreneurial. Let's just say your particular thing is business, right? Where do people who are achievers, typically go? Like, I'm using Enneagram for example right now, at the Enneagram theory. So where would type 3s go? They're usually really busy. They're very work driven. So they're probably out late at night at a bar because they're working all the time during the day. So that's what I would suspect. So I would suspect to meet other people like myself who are the type 3, out late at night places. People are going to have a varied assortment of interests. So it's kind of hard to say what another type 3 would be interested in. But typically people probably like to go out. I don't know. It really depends. And so what my point is with this example is it's really hard to even use type to apply it to discovering others, right? Because unless it's a very structured way of finding somebody, like I can give a lot of different examples of how to find people, but it mostly has to do with like online. But to be honest, like you just gotta literally like write down your hobbies. Like if you're, you know, we'll backtrack for a second. We'll try to keep this with typology. Let's just say I'm just solely trying to find somebody from typology, from one of the theories. What I would say is maybe if you're trying to find people who are just trying to have fun, maybe you want to go to clubs, like whatever you want to go to, like bars. You have maybe some hobbies that you're interested in. You find people, you find events that are going around for the hobby you like. But I would suspect that type 7, the enthusiast, people who like to have fun, go on adventures. That's pretty easy to look up online. It's pretty easy to find people who like to do that stuff because they're out and about. They're doing that. They're out in the world physically doing that stuff. Um, and again, too, I want to note as well, like it is hard to meet people, once you leave like a college lifestyle or a high school lifestyle. It does get harder with age, but in the sense that you have to put more effort in to compensate for the lack of convenience that you have to a whole group of people. So if you're in a city, for example, I would really, like if you're in a very populated city, I would suggest you look up something called meetup.com. That will not only probably give you meetups for typology and psychology events, but you can literally type in anything in meetup.com that you're into, and you'll find something. If you're into crochet, solitaire, networking, MBTI, most big cities have something for you. Tons of hiking stuff as well. So there's something for that as well. Hold on, glad to see you rolling. Yeah, you motivated me, bro. So again, what I really want to instill though is that like you can understand a lot of the Enneagram types or any kind of theory, MBTI, socionics, whatever it may be, but you have to remember at the end of the day, it's really hard to understand where somebody would be, how to meet somebody, without knowing really specifically who that person is. Like if you're trying to find other people who are interested in playing poker, like you're really interested in playing poker, or maybe billiards or cycling, odds are there's a cycling organization near you. There's, like if you're really into reading, make some friends at the bookstore. There's this philosophy I have that I don't normally share, but I'm going to share it anyway. And it's if you have something that's very niche specific and hobby oriented that you're interested in, like let's just say poker, okay? Poker is a very specific interest because it only really, like people who are serious about having it as a hobby are certain types of typology related individuals, right? Like they might be, ENTJs, it might be INTPs. If you're in finance, so my point is hobbies that are really high up on the tree, that are very niche specific hobbies, they tend to be higher up on the tree of relatability in terms of with other people. So odds are, if you're interested in like poker, for example, odds are you're going to have a lot of different similarities with that person. If you're into helping others, odds are you're going to have a lot of different similarities as well. And so my homework lesson for you guys is think of a very niche specific hobby that you have, right? It could be type related, could not be type related. Typing can help you kind of understand and discern, conjure up a hobby. But think of a really niche specific hobby that you have. And yeah, I'm already signing homework. But think of a very niche specific hobby that you might have, right? And then explore like little vines out from that. Like poker, might be interested in to risk, might be interested in finance, might be interested in math, right? Like look at really big niche specific hobbies, skills, or characteristics you have, and explore that and find the group of people wherever that is. Odds are, if you find like people who have an interest of what you have, like then odds are there's going to be more likeness there. That's always happened in my life, and it's really the law of attraction almost, because if you can think about and visualize the people that you want in your life, and and odds are they're going to be somewhat like you, right? Because you're trying to find same likeness or growth, right? I'll use another example. Let's just say you're in a spirituality, you're a hippie, you're all about the love, you're all about peace. Odds are you're gonna find a lot of people that you're probably gonna resonate with at like a music festival. You're gonna resonate with people who are at yoga. You're gonna resonate with people who are doing a lot of mindfulness stuff, right? So what I would recommend actually you guys do is maybe you'd want to approach Enneagram. It's more of it, I would suggest it over MBTI. And even I would look into socionics as well, but I would look into Enneagram as well, because when you look at what people value in terms of who they are as a person, you're actually able to kind of decipher hobbies from characteristics, right? Like people who are 7s and 9s, they tend to they tend to go towards augment towards peace. They tend to augment towards like liberal. They tend to augment towards, and this just as an example, certain things, right? And you're going to notice this if you're just starting out in typology, or maybe you're not new at all. There are just correlations between types. Sometimes you'll get to a point where it gets so repetitive where you meet people who value the same things, and so much of the same thing where you're like, did I already meet this person already? So I'm getting a little bit off topic, but my point is here, look at Enneagram, look at the characteristics that all the different types have. Check that out. Odds are there's correlations between MBTI and typology and Enneagram. And I would say that if you're looking to find certain types of people, start with Enneagram, because even though it's not one of 16 types, it's one of 9, right? You're going to find that there's a lot more combinations of people Enneagram. You're going to find that people are just interested in different things. It breaks away from functionality, which is what MBTI kind of goes over. And even socionics explains behavior pretty well, and what types are like. So again, that's another good resource for you. Check out Enneagram. That'd be my best bet. But putting that aside, putting typology aside, like I was saying, it is super, super easy to find people that you could be interested in befriending or romantically befriending. Think about you first. Think about your ideal. Visualize what that kind of person looks like, and then kind of think about where you would go to just happen to run into somebody like that. It would be interesting. For me, I know I would just happen to run into somebody at a networking event. I would happen to run into somebody on a job site, or working, or traveling, or through meeting people online, through meetup groups, through networking. Or for me, it's not really that difficult to meet people, but those are my avenues. Some people will have different things. What if you have no idea what your type is or should be? I've been terrible most of my life at knowing what the F is good for me. Right. So Enneagram actually kind of goes into that, but this is without type, right? Oh, as in women. That's a good question. So that's like 2 parts almost. So what if you have no idea what your type is or should be? So let's just start off with this, right? If you're starting point blank at a blank slate and you don't know your own type, and you're trying to figure out, so this is getting into relationships too, but I'm going to be very quick with this. If you're just starting out in typology and you're new, and you're new to this stuff and you don't know where to start in terms of maybe your goal is to find somebody romantically, right? Start off with a list of characteristics of who you think you are, your behavior of your day-to-day. Start with or not even. It's actually really great if you start off ground zero. So this is what I would recommend you do. It's going to sound really silly, but for people who know about typology, it could be skewed. But what I would do is I would contact the immediate 5 to 10 to even 15 to even 20 people that actually have experienced you more than 5 to 10 times, more than 10 times. So that could be a challenge, but get a list of people that have contact that have been in contact with you at least 10 times for a good duration, and then ask them to write down traits, at least 10 traits or 10 things about you that they know personality wise. And you'd be really interested to see what people actually come back as. And so what I would do is crowdsource, get 10 or 15 people. I would get at least 5 descriptions, if they can do it, of you, 5 to 10, just if they can think about it, not be awkward. And then compile this list, which should end up being something like at least 100 different descriptions from 10 to 15 different people. And you just kind of go through it, and then you just cross-reference MBTI, socionics, Enneagram. You're going to start to see what you value through how you express, or how you interact with reality. From there, you can kind of connect with a type that might, or a value system, or a value quadrant of any theory that could make sense to you. And from there, you can really discern what kind of partners or friends that you could really get. Sidebar, I like the watch. Oh, thanks. It's a Rolex. So I hope that answers your question. if you don't know where to start, crowdsource, ask people a bazillion things of how you are. And if you can get at least like 80 to 120 different descriptions of you, you can probably sort through the different, you can probably see a correlation of values and behaviors that you have, match that up with any system. It should be easy to narrow down. If you take some self-assessments, it would be easy to cross-compare your self-assessment and the 120 descriptions you got from people who know you. And then from there, it's every other resource to figuring that stuff out is online. Usually the internet knows what's better for you anyway. So I know I've been running a little bit late on this. I hope this video helped somebody out there. If you have any questions or you want me to do a video in particular about something, let me know. And I guess I'll just see you guys next time. Remember, subscribe, reach out to me again. And yeah, see you next time, guys.